It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Well, for the next 60 minutes, we're going to talk cars, trucks, and SUVs. In fact, anything with a throttle. It's your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles. And of course, you're listening to America's automotive radio show, keeping you connected to the automotive world, locally created, nationally celebrated. So what do we have lined up for you on this week's show? Well, we have a packed show. We'll be telling you what was in the Test Miles garage that we tested on the roads. The Northwest Green Vehicle of the Year has been announced. We'll talk to some of the jurors. There is a new Corvette, the Grand Sport, and Portland Tribune's Jeff Zerschmied will tell us all about driving it, as well as the Rose Cup races. They're on their way. We'll give you a preview of what to expect at PIR. And Ryan has been tested some automobile product, and he'll tell us how well that does. Sean, what have you been driving from the Test Miles garage this week?
I actually took out the Lexus IS200t F Sport. Man, names are getting longer and longer. But basically, it's a 5-passenger luxury SUV, and it's not the total S Sport. It's just F Sport badging and a little bit of performance. So it's not the big 425 horsepower.
So this is very much like when BMW do an M package.
Yeah.
They kind of give you badging and the look
Styling
of the M, but it doesn't actually have the performance of the M.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. But
so
I mean,
it's like a spray tan.
Spray tan.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a spray tan. You don't actually go in the sun and get tan. You just go get sprayed to look like you have a suntan.
Well, the spray tan on this car looked awesome. It was a blue metallic. It was called Hyper Sonic Blue, which is a beautiful blue. So the spray tan on this one looks good.
Okay.
Basically, some of the tech is like they have their little sports control, which you can get better throttle control. You can change from eco, normal, and then their performance package. Has a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder that has a 241 horsepower. 0 to 60 is not that impressive. It's only 6.9, but still gets up and goes. It's 8-speed direct transmission. It's a fun car to drive. The only problem I had with the car itself is there's a little lag with the turbo when you're on the freeway, but it's still...
That's for me because is it a twin squirrel, right?
Yeah, excuse me.
So is it, if it's a twin turbo, then one kind of hits when the other one,
Well, no, it's just a one turbo, so
it's single turbo.
Excuse me on that one, okay. Yeah. But I mean, it's a fun car. I liked it. Its competitions, like we said, it's the BMW 328, Audi A4 with a 2-liter turbo, Mercedes C300. It actually has more horsepower than all of them. It's tied with the Mercedes with 241, so it's doing something.
And this is a car, I think, that is affordable, too. I mean, a lot of the German cars tend to get too pricey. Once you start putting extras on them, I mean, a lot of times I was looking at cars that, for instance, the Accord Hybrid, which is a bad comparison to this as a car, but it comes basically in 2 or 3 different trim levels, and you get everything or nothing, and it's $5,000 between the starting price and what you can top it out at.
Basically,
with the German cars, you can start at $28,000 and you can go to $60,000 before you've optioned what you just want on the car, and you can go higher than that if you want all the extras like the cargo net and that type of stuff.
Well, honestly, the horsepower isn't much different on the Honda Accord Hybrid at like 200 horsepower compared to, what did you say the IS was?
241.
Yeah, it's really not that much different, honestly.
Yeah,
but it's the weight.
Yeah, it is the weight.
It is, and I mean, like you said, with the right price range, the IS does start at $37,000. You can top them up around 50, but you're not getting in that $60,000 range with BMW and everything. So
right.
Definitely agree on that. And I think the interior, I'd actually prefer this car over a German car. I like the looks of it. I really enjoy the interior because nothing's flat in the interior. It has this whole cockpit feeling. The dashboard has this kind of round bubble instead of just a flat dash. I think it's sexy inside. It's actually enjoyable to be inside the car versus a German vehicle.
I will tell you, for me, it's the strangest thing. When I'm in it, I like it better than the German ones, but when I'm in a BMW, I like that better. So I think it's whatever I'm driving that day. The performance of BMW is pretty unbelievable.
I I get the performance, but if I had to actually go out and buy one, I think I'd choose the IS over.
Just as a daily driver for sensible.
Driver.
That's more of your sensible brain talking than your passion, which is the first time I think I've ever heard that, and since I've known you in 12 years. But it's still a passion car. I mean,
I took it up to the mountains to actually go film the vehicle as well, and it was fun through the curves.
Right.
So it's that passion driver who can actually have a car to drive daily and still have fun with.
Right. Oh, sorry, that was my microphone.
But I don't know. I mean, like, some people don't like their little mouse pad system, and I think it's easy to use because they have this little mouse pad. Your hand fits comfortably over it, and you basically scroll to get your radio stations, your climate control. I love it.
I think one of the things is we're a poor judge of some of these new technologies on a long-term basis, because if you drive them every single day, by the end of the first 6 weeks, you know how to use them and you understand them. If you don't, like I have a new Mini. In the Mini, it has the scroll pad thing. When I started to use it, by the end of driving it for 2 weeks, I'm totally used to it. I can use it. But when I first saw them, I thought, who would ever use that? This week, I've been driving the 2016 Lincoln MKS. Now, this is a kind of a strange vehicle because Lincoln haven't been pushing it very hard. It's really the competitor to the Lexus RX. But I'm surprised. I actually was expecting less of a vehicle. I think Lincoln has been struggling as a company to find their feet. And I was surprised the vehicle is, I would say, acceptable and decently put together. It's not something that would be on my passion list, but it definitely does not disappoint. Adaptive cruise control with stop and go, pre-collision alert, which went off this morning because I was a little late to the studio. Enhanced parking assist, lane keeping assist, and I can feel it pulling me back into the lane. You don't use your signal to change lanes, which is something I occasionally do. I try to remember to do it because it's a pet peeve of a lot of the people I drive with. But occasionally I forget to use my signal when I change lanes. As I start to change lanes with this car, it pulls me back because it says, you're not signaling, you shouldn't be going towards the line that close, which is kind of cool.
The only time I don't like that is like for... It's this morning example. You're coming over the bridge and there's a bunch of hay bales in the freeway.
There were hay bales when came off a truck as we went over the Markham Bridge.
And you shift really quick instead of trying to signal because it's like you don't want to hit a hay bale, and it kind of forces you back. Or same thing, it's like you're driving down the road and there's a bicyclist and you're not getting all the way over. You're just scooting over a little bit so you don't hit the bicyclist, and it kind of want to force you back towards them.
Right. Right, so I think it has, the retractable power roof and all those type of things, the moon roof. I mean, it has a lot of nice things in it. They've done something that Honda have done, which drives me a little crazy, which is the push-button gears. And yesterday I had to do like a 4-point turn out of a parking lot, and I kept hitting park by accident instead of drive, and it's just not intuitive. I'm sure if you were with it every day, because you have to look over. It's not like where you can put your hand down and it's 2 clicks up. You actually have to look for the letter and push the letter that says reverse, drive, park, whichever. You can't just put your hand there and know where it is. So I'm taking my eyes off of the road and I'm hitting the button. The surround view cameras, they're excellent on it. They have a lot of really, I would say, up-to-date tech on the vehicle. 2.7-liter V6 or a 3.7-liter EcoBoost V6 engine as well. Up to 335 horsepower, 6-speed shift paddle shifters, which you would probably want to use in the sport mode. I found with Lincolns, they're an okay drive, but they're a much more exhilarating drive when you put them into the sports mode. Unfortunately, the gas mileage goes way down. You can get it in a rear-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive, which I think is great because it then serves the whole country. Its competitors are the RX, as I mentioned before, from Lexus, BMW's X5, and Cadillac's RSX. 4 trim levels, premium, all the way up to the black label, which is something that we could talk about at another time, but it's a weird premium level that they have, which I don't really understand. And it has the My Lincoln Mobile embedded app, 360 cameras, as I mentioned, and also a really good audio system. It'll start at $38,000 and goes to $53,000. I think they've done a good job of this car. I think the pricing of this car, if they're going to come back into the market and make a statement, needs to be a little lower than that. I think if they come in, the trouble is they have their smaller, the MKC, but they need to start coming in at a lower price. And that's one of their problems with Lincoln, but they are great cars. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Northwest Automotive Association, the Northwest Automotive Press Association. They have chosen their Green Vehicle of the Year. We'll have two of the jurors in for that. We're going to talk about Rose Cup, and we're also going to have a little chat about the new Grand Sport, which has just come out. That and product review when Test Miles returns. I'm Nick Miles.